Good afternoon. Welcome to my class. And today we will be talking about the flow of communication. So in here, we will be discussing about what you should do as the sender, what you should do as the receiver, and what are the things that should be with you in order for the message to be successfully delivered to its recipient. So let's begin. I'm going to present to you the flow of communication for the formal flow of communication. So as you can see here, we have here, I think you have already knew of this. We have here the source or the sender, who is of course the producer or the sender of the message. And he does the encoding. He does the encoding through a channel in which the message is sent. The channel may be in the form of oral, or it may be in the form of written. For example, the sender had written the message into a magazine, so the channel is the magazine. Or it may have been announced through radio, the channel is radio. Or it may have been announced through television or blog, whatever, those are channels. And the message is decoded by the receiver or the audience. The message, the encoded message here through the channel is decoded by the receiver. Now, we have to consider one thing in order for us to know if the message is successfully sent, and it is called feedback. What's the feedback? Is the message successfully sent? Is the message clear? Now we have what we call fields of experience. This one. What the sender had sent may be different from what the receiver had perceived based on the fields of experience. For example, their culture or the noise alone. For example, the sender may be having a high-pitched voice, and that may be perceived by the receiver as an angry tone, kahit hindi naman. Or the sender may be angry, but he may be talking in a low-pitched voice because that's their culture. And that might not be perceived by the receiver. So, there are three basic components: the sender, the message, and the receiver. But the successful communication lies within the fields of experiences of both the sender and the receiver. So this is a very important part in communication, because if we do not consider the sender, we may not also be considering how we are going to send the message. And if we do not consider the receiver, I don't know if there will be a successful communication. Let's see this one. This is the flow of communication, or an example of a flow of communication of the real world scenario. Example, this is the president. How is the president sending communication towards his people? The communication or the message is cascaded by the president through the vice presidents. And then the vice presidents cascade the information to their assistant vice presidents, and then the assistant vice presidents also flows the communication through their subordinates, and so on. How about the feedback? The message is tested whether it is sent successfully if the receivers do a feedbacking to, for example, in here, to the assistant vice president, and then the assistant vice president produces feedback or reports about the message to the vice president, and then eventually the vice president reports to the president. So that is the flow of communication. Okay, so that's our lesson for today, the flow of communication.